like what to do. We're given this life, we're given awareness and a certain amount of awake hours and a modicum of free time. Shouldn't be too problematic. Come hang out,
You'd think.
snack. Yeah, we could make a problem out of damn near anything.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So you can look at the metaphor of fasting mind, because it has some utility. Again, it's kind of bass backwards, but it's useful at least to set a tone for contrast's sake. A mind that finds objects can't help but to incite the world. That's the package.
Meaning make it real.
The mind incites the world. You could say that's what we refer to by mind. Objects are found in, call it awareness or conscious contact, whatever metaphor or tradition you like to use. And the faster than light speed with which objects found in attention excites or entices or suggests the world is all at once. There's no delay. The arising of the world is all at once. Unbidden, arbitrary, more or less, impersonal, and fantastic beyond imagination. So left to its devices, if we could appreciate just the dumbfounded startlement of mind being the enticement or excitation creation of the world, that's nice, because as you, let's say, place things in a more inclusive package, you're capable of grokking, I think is a fairly good word, grokking the inclusivity of the arising of the world. And that's kind of nice, because then it's not like I'm doing it or something else is doing it, or here's how or why it's happening, or what the consequence is. None of that. The intelligence that's capable of witnessing its own arising is, you could say, a sated intelligence. Because it's not looking for particulars, something to have a fight with or execute, or a plan for itself in terms of, let's say, seeking security or explanation. So a fasting mind could also be said to be a sated mind. It's not necessarily empty or without, but it can also be felt as so deliciously inclusive that it's not distracted. The distracted mind has become inebriated with contrast, and contrast is space, time, body, mind, self, world. Contrast. And contrast, or the addiction to contrast, that's samsara. And that occurs before you have a bad hair day. That's you could say, a samsaric predilection. Because once you've found objects and operating through distractibility, then self and other is also present. Not because of, but see, it's a package. It's just a spontaneously appearing all at once package. A fasting mind can be relaxed from, completely relaxed from contrast. Or though it may be capable of appreciating contrast, it doesn't turn contrast into a story of self. A sated mind is capable of, emptiness and form as a simultaneity, and again does not does not enter the samsaric stream. That would be a mind of inclusivity. And they're the same. The fasting mind and a mind of inclusivity are the same. Both you could say relaxed from the impulse to, right? Row your boat down the samsara river. That's pretty much it. That's really it. The distracted mind, by virtue of finding objects and being understandably inebriated with consciousness as phenomena, consciousness as experience, consciousness as texture, feeling, you could say just falls in love with the magical world that it has discovered, and right, fills that world from the, you could say, point of view of self.
And that's where the, grasping usually comes from.
That's, yeah, of course. Yeah, all of that.
All that stuff.
Yeah, the entirety of everything that you can find in suffering mind is that. Is the incredible intoxication of having found a world to play in as a creature. That would include, the innocence of, a non-violent, heart-melting child, or a genocidal maniac. It's the same.
Equal.
It's the same, which is, a little bizarre. Like, heart-melting innocence turns out to be, the same as, systematic evil intentions. And the yogic literature, a mind that withdraws from contrast discovers, you could say, both waves, discovers its fasting nature and its inclusive nature, neither one being reactive.
Seems like that withdrawing from context. I know it's artificial, but it does seem to help when you hang out and just meditate for hours and hours and hours and just kind of shut down outward, normal activities.
Yeah.
It gets a little weirder
Yeah.
quicker that way.
Yes.
Because you're not so lost in just normal, outward, everyday activities.
Yeah, that's right. A certain quality of attention is withdrawing from the demands of a busy, accelerated, world where, good evening, where you're always encouraged to, act out. Even in, even in loving, socially acceptable ways.
Super healthy snacks.
Hey.
Sweet, super healthy.
Wow. She saves
Oh,
the
nice.
day. Skittles and M&Ms.
Did you go dumpster diving behind the movie theater or something?
The woman that gives me the cookies gave me like 4 or 5 boxes of candy like that. I was like, what are you thinking? Can't handle this.
Yeah, it would be deadly for me.
You still don't have any like water or anything.
I'll give you some of mine.
That's I think I'll make it.
But it is just over and over again frustrating when you use artificial methods and, next day back at work, same old thing.
Sure,
At
yeah.
some point you lose interest in artificial methods, and it's like if it can't show itself in the same old, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm on strike.
Yeah. Right. The world that's familiar to us, right? The world of coming and going and location and the elapsing of time and, appointments made and sensations and sentiments, arising like a never-ending fountain. Yeah, you could say it's damn near impossible to not be consumed by that.
And Peter would say it's one of its major modes.
Yeah, he probably would. Mm-hmm.
Consumption. So what the hell is the difference between this and just everyday Joe that doesn't ever care to look at it?
Hard to say. You could probably come up with an answer, but the everyday Joe that doesn't look at it wouldn't come up with an answer. They wouldn't know to ask the question.
Yeah. How do normal people get through without going, oh my God, there's gotta be something other than just what we're fed? How do normal people not just rattle a cage on a regular basis? I'm a cage rattler. I've been forever.
Well, if you have Jesus, that's one way.
HBO.
Yeah, Jesus and HBO
And beer.
work well.
Beer.
Mhm.
You could say the nervous system and all aspects of one's experience, or the way that we engage with or engage in experiencing, goes through, kind of a radical cleanse.
Like dropping everything that used to have meaning. Is that
Yeah.
what you mean?
Mm-hmm. Like that.
As it all falls away and you're like, fuck.
Mm-hmm. Like dropping everything that has had meaning.
Yeah.
Feels more like or some kind of, it feels like space, like distance from the meat puppet.
Yeah.
It's not actually, space isn't actually like a thing, it's just a felt sense. And it's interesting, it just seems like it just keeps backing away from that
Yes.
entire, it's so not connected. There's no connection. It's just
Yeah.
like,
Right.
there's just a tremendous amount of space between
Mm-hmm.
the meat puppet.
Yeah. Yeah, space is what you'd call a recognizable symptom of fasting mind. Whereas inclusive mind would no longer, let's say, recognize, some disparity. But one's not, better, higher, or lower. That they're disparate, that the meat puppet and this other thing is total space. Right?
Oh, no, I'm not saying that, I didn't mean that one or the other was space. It's just that that's a range, it seems like. That
Yes.
that pops in however it pops in. Like,
Yep.
it's just bizarre.
Mhm.
But to see how much that felt sense of space can be felt.
Yes.
Is just bizarre, I don't know, that just,
Oh.
I had never been recognized seemingly by me before.
Yes.
In some sense.
Right.
I'm sure, it's just regular, everyday, whatever.
Yeah, it's strange, it's right. I mean, this is uncommonly fantastic in each moment, whether it's, felt through the Muggle lens or felt through the Wizard's lens.
Well, it doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Then it doesn't have anything to do with anything.
The distance, the
Yeah.
felt sense of space it doesn't have anything to do
Yes,
behaviorally or with
with anything,
Anything.
right. Yeah, that's a
it's
cleanse.
very obviously not what you are. Like, there's some glimpse into something that is just very, let's say, different than whatever it was you.
Yeah, whatever we took ourselves to be.
But it's just it's crazy that we have all this insane science and whatnot, seemingly, to try to figure out all these weird, and that the most seemingly dramatic shift can occur in an instant.
Right.
In your own little tiny, it's not tiny, but you know what I mean, your own little bizarre experience.
Yes, that's right. Science.
Without any tools or equipment
Or
or
no tool, accelerators.
nothing.
Right. Not even a
No
magnifying glass.
Liturgy, nothing.
You can't even burn ants on a hot day. Oh.
You can't create that space when you need it the most. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
That just cements you more to the meat puppet, in my experience.
Yeah, that's right.
As the meat puppet drowns, it's like, no, give me space, give me space. It's like, fuck you, no space.
Yeah. It's too late for the meat puppet.
Just let her drown.
It's always too late for the meat puppet. So thought, right? That's an object found. Once you name, not even out loud and not even silently, and even you can say before silently. It's a kind of a Velcro thing. If you put down your hooks, right? Think of mind as the hook, and phenomenon as the fabric. If you put down your hooks, then you don't get stuck in the fabric.
But it's not like you don't think, it's just you don't invest in what mind gives you. It's gonna go ahead thinking and being crazy as shit.
Hi.
You just wanna let it go and it goes.
Well, if only you could. I mean, that's kind of like the sage advice, given by contemplative teachers. It's, if you're in a position to let mind go, well, it's too late. Because the hook and the fabric have already, right, connected.
Mm.
Yeah. And yet you could say, if I'm encumbered by something fleeting or, something that has legs, a tenacious nastiness in my own head, then, you could remind yourself to let go. But I'm not sure how successful anyone has ever been with even that great advice. So the better salve is prior to having found an irritant to let go of. Yeah. A more subtle, let's say, sensitivity or observation of the texture of a rising, you wouldn't then have to let go of anything. Because
I guess it's sort of the space analogy that I was trying to explain doesn't make sense because there is no meat puppet in that space. You have to objectify it.
Yeah.
But you can sense and feel it coming into existence, so it feels like space from.
Absolutely.
But it's not really space from. It's just bizarre insanity.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no question. There's no question if you've been invited to, the space party, that you can say with aplomb that, boy, that's quite a distance from the meat puppet. Yeah, so those kinds of contrasts are fun. I mean, that's what you could say. Those contrasts are what make insights or revelations interesting. I mean, a revelation that couldn't be contrasted to something else, it wouldn't have any legs. It wouldn't be worth, having a revelation over. Insights are cool because they're a contrast.
They're applicable to something.
Yeah, they have to be applicable. That's right. Yeah, pure space, that's just not applicable to anything. It doesn't have anything to contrast. So let's just say the revelation of it is short-lived. You're not going to get a week's worth of mileage out of it.
I'm going to go very far in the void.
I mean, a couple minutes maybe. You get a good couple of minutes of, let's say, true enjoyment. But or enjoyment that's fed by contrast. So the air gets a little thin. If you're not trying to resolve yourself or your issues or the world, or if you're not trying to condone or condemn a, neo-Advaitist point of view, the air's a little thin. What's left? If you're not asserting anything with too much, fervor or confidence, it's hard to put out a CD series.
Let alone ramp up a retreat.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that may be disquieting, or infuriating to some. But to others, it might be a really, welcome kind of release from the typical neurosis. It's different than trying to play the "you are not the doer" card, and then attempt to defend that. That's such a tiny, in a sense, it's such a tiny little thing to get over.
You are not the entirety of consciousness.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with you.
Right. If you're still working on "you're not the doer" card, go see Wayne. As if there's some kind of practical discovery to be made when you finally agree that you're not the doer. Now it's working for you. Oh, I'm not the doer. Now it's working for me. Yeah.
Well, if you're lucky, it's just a piece of a broader recognition of what this is.
Yeah.
I would think. I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
speculating, but
Right.
it's
I mean,
one sort of aspect.
It's not that difficult, with a little bit of guided meditation, and by that I mean, a conversation to, snuff it out. It's not that difficult to see that you are arising in your own experience spontaneously and without choice or will. The impulses that are arising as sensation, as the response to sensation, to thought, scenarios, imagination, projection, transference, and all the sentiment that accompanies this flowering of experience. You mean it's not clear that that's really just happening all by itself?
I can't do a damn thing with myself.
Do we really have to spend another 50 years trying to work that one? I mean, come on, look at this shit. And yet it's very easy for probably most people to, deny that observation with great fervor, great confidence.
Yeah.
I remember was hanging out with Dave and at the old Saxby's before our dear friend turned it into what it is now.
The juicy place.
Yeah, and it was chess night or something. We were wandering through and having some wacky conversations, and one guy, it was real interesting. The point I was making had something to do with everything is novel. This present moment has never been here before, has, no duration, and will never be seen or heard from again. And that's always the case. And that's like unbelievable. And we completely ignore that. And it aroused him for sure. But he didn't necessarily want to go there. So what he did was he kept repeating some action with his hand, like slapping his hand on the table and saying, "It's the same, it's exactly the same, it's exactly the same," when it was clear that it wasn't. How could it have possibly been the same? It was, it was brand new each moment, but he kept insisting with that same repetitive motion that it was the same, the same, the same, the same. And I'm like, I think we might be like two ships. I didn't know what to say. I was like, yeah, you're right. It's the same. it was so curiously clear that it was completely novel. The way that he hit it, the sound that he made, the emotion that was coming out as he was trying to prove that it was the same. I mean, it was a complete dynamism, like everything is, a complete, excruciating dynamism. And he was insisting in the midst of this dynamism that it was the same. And I'm like, I think I'll just back away. My work is done here. But see, it was arousing, some part of him got it. But then there was that refusal reflex. And then the proof to show the proof. And I was like, you should go see Gene Ong, maybe bend a spoon. Do Arcturian meditation.
You really can't prove anything. It's hard to prove that this is anything.
Impossible.
Yeah, it's hard to prove that it's nothing. It's hard to prove that it's anything. You can't really pin much down about it.
Yeah, that's what you could say. That's what the aspirant is up against. It's just the impossibility of a very, very insistent paradox.
It seems you've only really got two tools to approach that question with, what is this, or is this anything, or is it not? The only two tools you have are experience and sensation, or thought.
All of which are the same. What you have is experience.
Well, thought could be like a subset of experience, I guess.
Well, just because thought opines through symbology, which means it distances itself, doesn't mean it's a subset of anything.
It's not really useful. In this context, it's not useful really at all. It just kind of gets in the way. Fasting from thought is more helpful than diving into it to get some explanation.
Yeah.
Or distancing from it. It's impossible in my experience to fast from it. It never stops. Shut up!
Yeah.
It doesn't stop.
Well, let's say one discovers the radiant capacity of attention, and you start to see that it's attention which is animating thought. So typically our attention is on thought as the end game, and the implication of thought as the consuming reality. That means one is living in virtuality, living as if the implications of thought are a bona fide realm. Yeah. So the yogic shift then is to see that thought is appearing in you, and that without attention, thought does not have a leg to stand on. So now that you've discovered attention, and of course, the words are very fuzzy with all this, right? I mean, thought itself is just what? I mean, it's really just a miracle of symbological implication. It's just incredible that we can think a thing or speak a thing with the language intonations that we've been trained to use and share. I mean, try having this conversation, with a group of Uyghurs.
What's a Uyghur? Or a Uyghur?
They are Asian Muslims that are systematically violated. It's like we think we know what thought is. And you could say categorize or dismiss it with aplomb.
Well, in normal day-to-day life, we think we know what everything is.
Yeah, that's right.
Thought among it.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you could say we're bored and, restless and dissatisfied, because we're functioning in a mode called normal everyday life.
And heightened looking for novelty, which is like obvious. Everybody's looking for novelty.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Amusement park.
Super
What a goofy
novelty.
idea.
Yeah, the Earth is basically a maggot novelty park.
But people are like nuts over Disney. Serious silliness.
I love this maggot novelty park. Let's go on a date. Okay. So it's possible to see with a little bit of, attention or training, call it whatever you like, that you have to construct at present the platform from which you are either inquiring or speaking or asserting or justifying or questioning. Because that whole genesis or matrix completely falls apart if you don't get on the soapbox in the first place. What, there's something to resolve? There's something in the way of your liberated understanding? How is that possible? There's something that hasn't happened yet? Why does everyone go see everyone that they go and see? Because underlying it, you could say something hasn't happened yet. What hasn't happened yet? What?
This whole life has just been foreplay. Not the main event.
I'm not enlightened yet. How come? It hasn't happened yet. What? What hasn't happened yet? I don't know. Some kind of thing that happened to so-and-so. So-and-so looked at some birds. So-and-so pretended he was dead. So-and-so broke up with his girlfriend. So-and-so was really depressed. So-and-so threw a plate of food across the wall. That hasn't happened to me yet. Well, I don't know. Break up with your girlfriend, get really depressed, throw a plate of food against the wall, do everything that all of these other so-called people have done, and then, then see what happens. Well, I did everything that everyone said that they'd done, but it still hasn't happened yet.
Still just a total loser.
I'm still a total loser. Yeah. That's pretty funny. What exactly is the body of evidence that we are steadfastly relying upon that says it hasn't happened yet?
So arbitrary and so slippery. It's like, oh my god. It really doesn't take much. Like, just look at it. You're like, oh my god, it's ridiculous.
Well, there's lost the novelty. You just do something out of because it worked for somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
There's the novelty.
Well, that's right.
We just have some kind of weird lemon quality.
Lemon.
Are you gonna run off a cliff? Okay.
Lemming quality.
I'll join you.
I love that line, packed like lemmings into shiny metal boxes. Contestants in a suicidal race. I love that. Another industrial early morning. Da-da-da-da-da-da. It's a really cool song. Kind of dark,
Who
but
does
cool.
this song? What's this? What
What is it?
What's the name of it?
Oh gosh. It's not coming to me. It'll come to me. The Cure? No.
No, it's please.
The police, that's it.
I saw Don Henley last night
Oh, did you?
at Music Fest.
Yeah, so I
Was he good?
Did you sing Desperado?
Yeah,
Desperado.
as the last song. And he said,
Oh,
"This
he
is for
sent you
Glenn."
Home with
And
Desperado.
he sang Desperado.
Wow.
I was already out in the
Oh,
in
really?
the concession area sucking down a sausage. I had the munchies.
You're like, I'm gonna let this sausage love me.
I did. I was like, Desperado.
I
It's
didn't know that was
fantastic.
the song associated with him. I think Linda Ronstadt and somebody else did it.
The Eagles. Yeah.
Really?
I think
But
so.
I think Linda Ronstadt is one that really knows.
Well, sure. But he also did Tears for Fears. That was so exciting. I mean, he did Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Oh, geez.
And
Nice.
and he had a band. I mean, it was an orchestra, this band.
Mm.
He made a funny remark about it. He said, "You might have noticed I brought some people with me." And 3 female vocalists,
Yeah.
2 lead guitarists, 4 or 5 horn guys, piano, drums, bass, and then another guy, then 2 other virtual instrumentalists. I was like, this is
Wow.
unbelievable. So if they wanted to, whip it up, they could really whip it up.
Wow.
And so they played, Tears for Fears like nobody's business. I was crying.
Oh,
Mm.
man.
It was so good to hear that tune live with a
Right,
band
my
like that.
sausage.
Oh, that would be
It's like,
amazing.
wow.
This is outside?
Yeah.
In the Steel Piers area or something?
Yeah.
Steel stack.
Steel Stacks, whatever.
Steel Stacks, baby.
I don't think there's any piers in Bethlehem.
The steel something.
Yeah.
Is this part of your retreat?
Corn syrup, it's good. Just eat it. So it says like partially GMO too.
I don't care about that. I don't like
It
purple.
says it on the box now, partial GMO.
I just don't like the purple flavor.
Yeah, I don't like purple either.
Do they all taste different? They're probably all the
Yeah, they
same.
do.
No, they all taste different.
Oh,
Don't
yeah?
you know?
You've been brainwashed.
Go ahead.
I will.
See?
I will.
Taste the rainbow.
Okay.
Oh, we saw a rainbow today.
Oh, big rainbow on the way here.
Yeah.
Is this purple?
That was cool.
Yeah.
I saw a little shitty rainbow on the way here. It was great.
Oh, it's that little shitty one. Oh, well.
Must have dwindled. It was all the way on 202 heading north.
That's quite funny.
Right there.
What did Forrest Gump said? Life is like a box of chocolates. You could say it's kind of like consciousness is like a rainbow. It's like, it's beautiful, it's entrancing, but it has no utility. You can't find where the rainbow begins or ends.
Kind of
It's
ephemeral.
absolutely ephemeral and
Your finger on
etheric, and yet it's absolutely evocative. And that's what consciousness is like. It's just like a rainbow. It's evocative and incredible to glimpse, but it's absolutely appearing ephemerally, without a beginning, without an end, without utility, without implication. What drives us crazy is the quarrel that we have, systemic quarrel that we have, presuming that consciousness is something other than a rainbow.
We want to like pin it down and make it something.
Yeah. Wherever you go, you either want to mark it with urine or with a flag.
And then we are.
All of your memories are like that.
Pretty much.
All of your memories and all of the events,
It's kind of
that
funny.
define who you take yourself to be or what you think you are all marked by urine or flag or whatever. Now it's yours.
I
Yeah.
used to post it.
It's like Matt Damon colonizing Mars, right, by growing potatoes in human waste. Didn't he say something like, "Fuck you, Mars"? He did.
Yeah.
Pretty
Making
funny.
Mars his bitch.
Yeah, he's made Mars his bitch by planting potatoes in human waste, colonizing it. Yeah. Yep,
Sure urinated all over it too.
absolutely.
I don't know. Maybe it's in gravity then.
Mm.
I'm not sure.
So you see, the search for security is marred by the anticipation or insistence that a destination can be found, which means you've mistaken consciousness to have some kind of utility, not appearing ephemerally and etherically like a rainbow.
And you also kind of shit all over it when you get into the future anyway.
Oh, yeah. So you see the pursuit, the insistence on security has to fail on so many levels.
Stop trying to preserve yourself.
Yeah, that's one. Self-preservation, right? Preservation in space-time. Enough stores for the winter, the future, right? Whatever recognition or whatever you're deeming in that moment to be the accoutrements of security. If you have them for temporarily, you might have some security, but you'll notice it doesn't last very long because everything is wasting away.
I got a rocking spreadsheet.
For a short while, a rockin' spreadsheet, can hold your fascination and appear to plot your future security from a, financial planning point of view. Yeah. But see, all of that's appearing virtually.
You just have no fucking clue what this just keeps throwing shit. It's like nuts.
It's nuts.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, that very, simple, unadorned observation is the whole of the paddling down the Samsara River.
We just keep recalibrating. I'm just going to recalibrate, and then this will all come back together.
Yeah, that's right.
Things kind of fell apart there for a minute.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to recalibrate.
Yeah.
Change a few numbers.
Yeah. It's like relying on someone else so that you can feel affection.
Mm-hmm. Hoping to find someone else.
Yeah.
That's a common one.
It's really nice not to place any demand on present experience. Not to insist that it become something or even please you somehow. just attention itself. The world, if there were one, is painted with attention. Attention that has found objects and then starts moving them around. Imagination, the movement of imagination, or the movement of scenarios, the movement of thought, which pretends to be able to have an opinion about what is or has or will occur. That's just moving symbols around in a virtual realm, just moving symbols around.
And just automatically done.
Oh, yes.
Pokemon.
Yeah. It's not particularly willful, right? It's just the entrancing nature of symbology appearing in an etheric on an etheric canvas.
It's like there were such a thing, deeper thought. It's all the more that way.
Sure.
It's all the more prescribed. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. So we become entranced by the spontaneous arising in an etheric so-called space or canvas of malleable symbology. That fast is the world. So in that respect, thinking is, right, a form of entertainment. Dancing in etheric space with symbology, suggesting scenarios about the past which is gone, the present which you can't find, and the future which hasn't happened yet.
Somehow the world keeps bringing me back by more and more outrageous things. I think Donald Trump is kept me earthbound to some extent. Things that are just, unbelievable.
Pretty wacky.
And here it is.
Dog diarrhea is all over your bed in your whole room.
That's a good one.
No.
That flatlines the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. God, I was enlightened a moment ago, but Jesus,
When
not
faced
anymore.
with diarrhea, you just.
I was enlightened and or ruminating about something, but not anymore.
Really?
Or your cat having.
Very grounded now.
Ooh.
Which happens.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And you're
really.
Mm.
It's kind of a courageous gesture to let go of the reins of attempting to make solid etheric ruminations. You have to let go of the reins. And okay, this is all appearing etherically. Well, then maybe I don't have to figure anything out, or tell myself again what I told myself again for the millionth time that I told myself what I told myself about what I told myself.
The thing is, I know that'll come back again.
Yeah, of course. This is, this is an alchemy. It's not like the alchemists all got together, figured it out, and went home. I mean, they're still at it. So that's what this is. This is an alchemy of discovery. It's okay, absolutely okay if the so-called world comes back in and entrances you. What up? It's kind of like establishing a connection, TCP/IP, packet switching. You establish a connection, but you don't send any data. You establish a connection, but you don't receive any data. You just establish a connection.
Assume everything's spam.
That's right.
Send it directly to the spam folder.
That's right. Everything goes to the spam folder. Your inbox is completely clean. You go out and have some spam on toast. Teachings appear in the realm of etheric symbology. And since everything is, infinite in its own right, so is etheric symbology, which means the language, that which is found, intuited, or elicited by another, word, be it Pali or Sanskrit or what have you, doesn't have any limit.
Looking at that map, and I'm wondering how many kids are confused when they're told that's the world, or even that's a map of the world, because that's a jump for a little kid whose immediacy is the real world, So that's like one of the first stages of symbology, I guess, is imagining that step.
My brother told me it was another country across the lake from our house, and I believed him.
Oh,
When I was a
really?
little kid, yep. It's like, that's a whole nother country.
Could have been
I thought it was
Canada.
True. It was a pretty big lake, but it wasn't that big.
Well, there are parts of the Great Lakes where if you look up,
Yeah, but you wouldn't be looking at it and seeing houses over there.
no, not that far.
Well, older brothers take advantage.
Oh, he was bad, and I believed most of it.
I remember
Did you go to the Lower Peninsula? Right?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You can't see it, but Lake Superior goes across to Canada.
Yeah.
Imagine you being very gullible in
There
a
was
very
a-
cute way.
The Oaks Theater from Oakmont, and they had a theater there, movie theater. And it had, this kind of thing on the sides, but it's kind of stepped up. And I asked my brother why that was like that. He says, so like if it was a big flood or whatever, and it rolled over, you could walk up the steps.
Oh,
And I'm thinking, oh,
wow.
You believed him.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just automatically believe it.
You were just waiting for that flood to come.
Yeah.
It rolled over.
Well, that's right. I mean,
Sucker for it.
look how automatically we believe what it is that we believe. Right, ongoingly, as
Every day.
consciousness is, flowing
Yeah.
down the samsara river, paddling down the samsara river. We believe what we believe.
We believe we're like safe as we go whizzing at 60 or 70 miles an hour with other cars, just like,
Oh yeah,
I mean, we're believing, and so far we're still alive, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of a stretch.
yeah,
Doesn't take much to go across that line. Day in, day out, every minute, you're believing all kinds of crap. And it's all held together by your own effort. That other people are
yeah.
will or won't cooperate. That it's
Part of the, curious fun of this is you begin, to see more clearly, more emphatically, and how surreal belief is. That implies the world that I find myself in.
it's fun when you start to notice it kind of fucking with you. Not in a nasty way, but in a
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, that's weird way. Like weird coincidences or just like stuff popping up like, oh yeah, it's winking at me again. Kind of making fun of me.
It's always winking at you.
Mhm.
Even when it's fucking with you in a nasty way.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Like, what, you don't get the joke? Come on.
Yeah. Your plane's going right into the Pacific. Wink.
Wink.
Uh.
Your dog's gonna shit all over your room. Double wink.
Gotta
Double
stop
wink,
feeding
yeah.
him so much fruit.
Double wink.
Oh.
Well, that's,
But it's also arbitrary.
it's better when that happens when you're late for an appointment.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, anyway, but it's so arbitrary. The whole, it's like obviously, it's just whatever you are imaginarily acclimated to in some weird way seems normal, and
Yeah.
then it's just arbitrary kind of degradations of whatever you make up from there.
Yeah, the half-life is really fast.
It's like what?
Everything's just falling apart. It's Inception all over again.
It just keeps moving, but it's not really moving. It's not going anywhere. It's like never
Yep.
ending.
Right. Right.
That's why it can be fun to include weird things like CERN and whatever, because you're like, really, you're trying to analyze your behavior. I mean, maybe there was just some kind of weird glitch in a gravitron or something.
Yeah, that made this look like this.
Come on, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's no end to how, how etherically weird phenomena can be.
Yeah. Which is incredible that we actually mostly remain in such a limited,
How do we do that?
normal, small
Yeah.
frame. It's
Yeah.
like, what?
How can it appear so normal and predictable is kind of the magic of it.
Well, thank God for rock and roll.
Has anybody heard the latest Neil Young album? It's like 98 minutes long or something like that. I just heard an interview with him. It's a guy that does interviews in his garage. But it sounds like an incredible album. I'll have to look it up.
Soybeans or something?
They're chickpeas, they're dried chickpeas with.
Can I try that partially popcorn?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. That stuff's good.
And there's amazing tomatoes in here. Denise brought, no, they're really sweet. They're so good.
Stuff's made by dentists.
Those chickpeas, I can't believe I was chewing on them.
I
I just had another crown put back in.
straight for failure.
When was this, Neil Young's work released?
Mark Maron, yeah, I can't remember. I don't know how the interview was. But it just sounds like an incredible song.
Nice.
A lot of ambient sounds through it, the whole thing.
Let's go over to your house, get really high, and listen to it in the living room
Yeah.
with your wife.
We'll have to go down to the basement.
That's where we always used to go.
The man cave.
There's not a whole lot of seating right there, right now.
Let's
Did you
toke
sell
up
your
and
house?
spin some discs.
That's gone.
Good. Feel better?
Oh,
Good. You look better 50 pounds later.
yeah, right. It's a mess at our house. It's a hoarder's delight. It's just stuff all
my.
over the place.
Oh my.
We're getting there. I have all these credits on iTunes. People would just give me, like these iTunes cards and stuff. And I have all these credits and I'm just trying to figure out. I've had them for years. What should I download?
Hmm. Satsang with a crunch.
Got to arrive with good teeth at this set song.
Crickets and cicadas and whatever those are. Are they crickets? They're what? Katie did.
Mm-hmm.
Make their sounds and we make our crunchy sounds.
They got us way outnumbered.
What's the point about talking about non-duality when you can crunch on some popcorn nuts?
And then laugh at yourself about it. On YouTube. And watch.
Mm. Any questions?
It's funny because when you, it's like the closer you get to this, the less possibility there is of coming up with anything that really means anything. Like meaning just kind of floats out to sea.
Oh, if you do, you're pretty well sure that that's not it.
But you can't help but notice like the constriction and the grasping at it. And just that in itself shows you, well, it can't really be any absolute meaning. I got to hold on to it so freaking tight to have that particular framework It can't really hold much weight anyway.
It's unnerving to be released from implication.
Yeah.
It would be disorienting, but if you're not oriented anymore, I guess there's no need for it to be disorienting.
The ability to orient, or the framework to orient around, little by little, just kind of goes away. I mean, I was a big time vegetarian. I used to host potlucks and it was pretty strict. It wasn't long in Night Sky that the three of us ended up at Moo Burger. I had my first hamburger in like 15 years.
I wouldn't mind smoking
the
your
end of
pot
that.
and hoping I could get lucky.
And it wasn't necessarily Night Sky that did it, but it was kind of like the framework and the whole meaning and the identity that went around that was just gone.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're a rare bird. Of all the circles you and, the rest of us have participated in, you can see how few people get thrown out of that consciousness to consider something as bizarre as this.
It's totally lacking in all respects.
We're just totally lacking in all respects.
That's why we gotta have snacks.
Yeah,
That's all we got left, man.
yeah,
And people can't handle that. It's total lack in all respects.
Yeah.
That's,
yeah.
Yeah. Give me something I
That's a
can
bit
build a
much.
self around,
It's a bit much.
man.
Emptiness is a bit much. I know.
I need something to hold on
Infuriating for
to.
the person.
Yeah.
This is infuriating. We know.
so
That's
what
why we
you're
come
saying
here.
is,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
always that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
You
right.
say there's
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Boy, I still have some curiosity. Like, what is this book about? I assume it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. What else could it be? This
Okay,
a book
who's gonna
about
read us a
Tuesday.
bedtime story?
I think so.
Read us a story.
Yeah, let's get into children's literature.
I like the dinosaur thing. Says, if you're happy and you know it, clap your up.
Pretty cute.
Wow,
You
this
just
is,
nod me
this
hands.
is pretty wild.
Taking this radiant presence thing pretty much as far as it can go. Read us a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do snacks and read stories to each other.
Yeah.
We need to
In the
get
heat
around so
and
we
the
can see the
humidity.
I
picture.
know.
Very
Oh, I
nice.
want to join your group.
I'm just gonna scan it first. Man, I'm not high enough to, I gotta get high before I look at this again.
Okay.
He's asking for something.
We can work that out.
Yeah, forget this whole yoga thing. We'll just get high and read kid stories.
That would be a popular group.
I mean, look at that.
Nice.
I mean, that's
Whoa.
worth hanging in the living room.
Whoa,
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah,
How'd you know to pick out that book?
I don't know, it's just called,
Called him.
Look at the frogs, man.
this is really.
Those are non-dual frogs.
Look at that guy,
You see.
beating a PB&J.
And the frogs are peeking in the window at him.
Oh.
That's the deal. Look
There's
at that guy.
yeah.
I think,
Consciousness
I
gone
think
wild.
he secretly wants to be a preschool teacher. Because he's got the
Oh,
thing
for
going.
sure.
Yeah.
I really wish I just got high and was a preschool teacher, but instead I got a
Well,
job.
the dog is into it. Well, kind of.
Frogs riding the dog.
They were running.
I didn't put together until today that is Weird Uncle Ernie named after the Who?
Oh, I thought they
thing.
were squished frogs.
I would
That
imagine.
would be bad. We should not.
Don't
Yeah,
say that.
nice.
Oh, wait.
I know. It was the
He's
pervert.
the molester who fiddles.
Oh.
Fiddle about.
I like that.
That's a nice book. I
Yeah.
like it.
Is it all just
I'm like,
pictures?
this is what we're.
Your
This is
Uncle
the
Ernie
energy
and I
that
welcome
we're
you to Tommy's
having
holiday
right
camp.
now. This can't be good.
Oh, boy. Yeah. It took 10 years, but
Wonder
now
if he
it
put-
comes out.
I wonder if Wednesday's gonna come out.
Mm,
Have to,
yeah.
have to turn the
What
nose.
I fiddle about?
Fiddling about.
Ain't gonna fiddle no more.
Tuesday, third in the series.
Well, that was a nice round of questions. Next.
That's the way we ask questions.
I don't know. Is it me? Do I explain this stuff with such pristine clarity? It's-
Evidently. you do.
Evidently, yeah. Evidently, something must be going on.
Yeah,
That's why you need new meat. Every once in a while, you need some new meat so someone can say, what?
That's right.
I don't know.
What happened to those people that were that
We can say
come
what?
smoke weed and hang out at the campfire?
Yeah,
They never came back.
and why would they?
Once again,
Once again. Yeah, there's no point in being nice to people.
it might have hit a curmudgeon wall or something here.
Yeah.
It's so damn hot. Goodness.
I walked outside today and my glasses all fogged up.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. Me too.
It was absolutely pouring down pockets for like the whole way from, let's say Flemington, New Jersey, down to just north of Doylestown.
Hmm.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, I was getting the bucket. And then I come here and I'm like. what
And then
the
you
heck?
cross over onto the main, 202 with 4-lane part, and then it just sort of, and then I get home and it's like sunshine. I mean, I went home because I thought the basement would have flooded. 'Cause it hadn't flooded for a year, the whole time we lived there, and then the last couple of weeks ago, it flooded.
oh no.
Yeah, with all the stuff boxes on the
Oh,
floor, and stuff, we had to
no.
throw a mattress out.
Wow.
And I'm thinking,
That's just God helping you unload.
Yeah, we'll get it all wet. So
Yeah, I
you gotta,
didn't. I didn't. It wasn't that bad. I mean,
I'd like to know
it
what
seemed like
Bob's
it was
thinking.
bad, but it
Yeah, really.
didn't that much.
Hello, God. What's on your
I'm
mind?
sorry, but
Fuck.
Really? Can we talk about this or what?
this is not okay.
Are you like paying attention to this shit?
Like,
Or do you just create it and walk away? What the fuck? God, come back. Really, it didn't turn out like you'd think. Come back.
I know, if you think this is like based on your behavior, it's like horrific because you're like, you just find yourself in a horror scene and you're like, what did I do to deserve this?
Yeah.
It's like nothing. Because it doesn't have anything to do with you.
There's something very profound about kind of getting, you've given it your best. And when you're still sucking wind and you've given it your best, it's like the game is up. And my story is always if I just try harder, do it better, whatever. I don't believe that shit anymore.
Try harder and do it better?
Yeah.
Well, the Night Sky Sangha has
Good one.
been of some service to you. Oh,
Boy, that is a low flame, man. That's a
Still
low
burning?
energy flame.
it's a low energy flame. That's what happens when you get a cheap candle, I guess.
It's just subatomic candle.
Some candles, like, it's not even the cheapness. It just, you get lucky with some and not lucky with others. Candles are pretty
I think it's all in the wick.
It's all in the wick.
That's what she said.
Real mature. Way to bring our maturity level so down.
I heard what I said to the
We
three
were doing
young,
so good.
the three young firemen in my bedroom today.
What?
What? We need to hear more about this.
Yeah,
No,
everybody's like, what? What's
I live over two businesses, so I have a hardwired alarm to the fire department. And for some reason, it went off today for no reason. I was just sitting there minding my own business. Turns out there was dust in it. So the cop, they have to come and they have to come in the house. So they're all geared up and they're like
Oh,
20,
man.
three guys
You're
with their
like,
tanks and shit. And they're like, we'll come check it out. My bedroom's like 10 by 10. And they're in there and they're like, you know, cleaning the thing off. And I'm like,
You guys know this is like offense to you, but.
that's what I said, you know, this is
Don't
like,
leave.
this is like the plot of a
I don't want to
bad
freak you out or
porno.
anything.
And they were like, oh, the weird old woman who's saying, oh, well.
If you guys want
I tried.
to stay.
I wasn't really, I was just like, you know, it was just weird having three
I know.
I think it's
strangers
funny
in
as
full
shit.
gear in my bedroom.
Yeah,
That
Which
would
is
be-
small.
right.
Yeah.
Standing there like, yeah, you know.
I would have jumped on the bed and just lit right up. I love you guys.
I always
Like they
do
were
things like that. Socially
16
awkward. I
years
just say
old.
something and they're like, I'm like, no, just never mind.
And I told Kyla, I was like, yeah, I said that. And she was like, of course you did.
Oh, your daughter loves you.
Of course you said something horribly awkward and inappropriate.
I love that comment.
Why
I think
wouldn't
it's great.
Someone had to say it.
Yeah.
It's better it was you than one of them.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, you know, it wasn't really harassment because the power didn't end.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not fair for me.
That's right. It was safe,
I'm off the hook.
safe for you to say it. Yeah, exactly.
It's really disgusting when you're like in a situation where everybody's trying to be that's by definition awkward and everybody's trying to be appropriate. It's like
Yeah.
stop tipping or toeing around and just like say something appropriate that's really off the wall.
Well, thanks for coming, Sparky.
You bet.
Barky.
We'll see you again soon.
Yeah. Okay. Good to see you coming around more now that you got a
Yeah.
house sold. I love it.
I'm
Like
still-
the red ones.
What was the Mr. Rogers? I was just going in my mind.
This time together. Tomorrow. That song? No,
I'm thinking Mr.
I don't know
Green.
what I was
you're
thinking.
too young for Mr.
Probably
Rogers.
wasn't Mr. Rogers, it was something else.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm clamming up in here. It's too hot.
Well, instead of transmission, it's more like convection.
We're talking hot air. Is that what you mean? Convection works pretty damn well. If you've ever had a convection oven, you can cook stuff.
Oh, yeah.
fast.
Oh, there.
They're great.
I had a convection toaster oven the other day. My toast too crunchy and I didn't like it.
Oh, yeah.
Our
Try it
regular
out.
big up convection oven cooks stuff so fast. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Sure does.
Is it true that my flip flops are in your car?
Yep, they are.
My mysterious flip flops that walked away and I just went home barefoot because I couldn't find them.
Wow. Yeah, I have them.
They disappeared.
I do.
Beth thought that her sisters and wore them into their room, so I didn't know where they were.
Oh, okay.